Yes.
There you go.
All right. Well, we will call the August 26th hybrid meeting of the Colorado Neenah APCO chapter to order. And Ronnie, do you want to do a roll call of the chapter officers so we can make sure that we have a quorum? I'm here.
President Jennifer Kirkland. Vice President Sarah Shovner.
Morning.
Second Vice President Jody Chin.
Good morning.
Treasurer Kathy Rayleigh.
Good morning.
Executive Council Jackie Romero.
Emailed and said that she wasn't going to make it and provided an update for later.
Eastern Regional Director new Sarah Franz.
Good morning.
Eastern Regional Director Nathan Trush. Western Regional Director Brittany Mancini.
Here.
Western Regional Director Gina Baker.
Here.
Immediate Past President Chris Carnahan. I'm here. And Commercial Advisor Scott Hartman.
I'm here.
I think Chris is out because he's working on some radio stuff at a station. So
Perfect. All right. We have a
Thank you, Ronnie. And as Ronnie announced for us, we have two new members of the board. So welcome to Sarah Franz, who won the election for Eastern Regional Director, and welcome to Scott Hartman, who won the election for Commercial Advisor. And welcome to the board, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are happy to welcome you. Do we need to invite people in?
There's a couple of people from Vail. There's getting coffee.
Okay, we'll just have some activity in the room here. We've got people coming in for the meeting, so great. And I just want to welcome everybody that we see here online. That is excellent to have so much participation, and I want to remind everybody that this is an open meeting of the executive board of your chapter, and we are having open meetings because we want to hear from all of our members. So please contribute to the conversation as you would like. We're happy you're here. This is your chapter, and we are working for you. Motions can be made by anybody, and we want to hear from you. So don't be afraid to speak up and let us know what's on your mind and participate in the meeting. And thanks for being here. So we always start out our meetings by apparently taking a selfie. And also with appreciation. So appreciation is a time for anybody in the meeting to provide kudos or appreciation for anybody else, either in the meeting or those unable to be present. So I have some appreciation, but I will open at the floor and allow everyone else to go first. So who has appreciation? This is the participation part.
Well, I will start out by thanking Garfield for hosting. Thank you.
Thank you for hosting.
Yes.
All right.
Daryl, just
anybody else?
What you're doing.
Yeah, Daryl, we can see your screen. There we go.
What kind of site was he getting on?
No, he was adding himself a task to reset Gina Baker's password.
Oh, there you go.
It was work related. But yeah, you're sharing your whole screen instead of that's why Zoom, I hate Zoom because, you know, in Google Meets, you can share an application. Okay, who else has appreciation?
I'll throw one out. They're obviously not on the call, but I will throw out some appreciation for the entire Garfield County team because we just finished a hiring process and we have 4 new employees that will be starting shortly.
Wow, congratulations. Nice. Awesome. Well, I have a serious appreciation for the agencies that have been dealing with fires for the last 3 weeks. I know that they have gotten their tails kicked and have performed admirably under heavy extenuating circumstances. We have some people on the call who were evacuated out of their houses and still managed to run their centers. And we had a TERT activation, so I want to shout out our TERT coordinators and those who were able to send people from other agencies to go and help Rio Blanco County. So congratulations to the TERT team, and serious kudos for all of the 911 professionals who were working on these fires in the last few weeks.
I tried to raise my hand, but I couldn't find the little hand to raise.
Well, you have the floor.
My appreciation was going to be the same. For those of you that may not know me, there's a lot of people that I don't see in the room that I know. My name is Ronnie Magruder. I am the Rio Blanco County Sheriff's Office dispatch supervisor. And as Jennifer said, we did activate the TERT. And a kudos to Jennifer, as I talked to her probably in one of the highest stress times of my life. I had just evacuated my house, as well as through all the fires. And so she had reminded me about TERT and to contact Linnell. So I did that. And then the whole process was so smooth between Pam at the state, Jennifer, Linnell, Beth, everybody that was involved there. It was huge. And we had such an outpouring of appreciation and wanting to come here. Brittany Mancini, the Western Region director on the call here, she came up and helped a couple of days, and then Vale stepped up and helped hugely, sent a couple of people up. So we used TERT for about a week, and now that I know what TERT is and all about it, I will be an advocate for it from now until forever, because it was so useful for us. Just a little inside real quick, as I'm throwing out that appreciation. Our center is very small, one-person dispatch center. We average around 352 calls a week. That week of the fire, we averaged 1,930 calls that week. So for one person to take on that much of an overload is huge. We ended up having 3 people in the call center, and they were still overloaded that first week, where we were sending out evacs and possibly evacuating the town. So anyway, huge shout out to everybody, my team here at Rio Blanco County, and everybody that involved on TERT. And like I said, as well as Jennifer Kirkland for giving that idea to me. It was awesome.
Let's give Ronnie a hand.
Yeah, Ronnie gets a hand.
And thanks for keeping it in Rio Blanco County.
Ronnie, I really didn't, the only thing I did was mention TERT. Everybody else put it together. So I'm really glad that that worked out, and I'm glad that you were able to get some help, because that is a huge call increase. And we're just glad that your house is okay, and that the town is okay, and that it all worked out generally okay. All right. Who else has appreciation? And welcome to those who joined us in the room.
We just happen to be in the neighborhood.
You came for donuts, huh? Help yourself.
We decided to play office.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you all for providing appreciation, and we will move down to the treasurer's report. Kathy.
Good morning, everybody. So currently in our checking account, we have $8,223.47. And in the savings account, we have $106,555.19. Couple of things that were paid. Jennifer was paid back for the flag, $78.69. Jody used the credit card for the election buddy. That was $299. That has been paid. And then Jackie Romero was reimbursed for her APCO trip, and that was $2,538.12. We did get some money in from APCO, $54.40. I don't quite understand how they figure that, but sometimes it's a bigger amount and sometimes it's not. But that's where we are right now with the balances. The other thing that I have is I did reach out to Stacy Harris, who is with BDO. It's our firm. accounting firm. And I did get the notice in the mail from the IRS that our form was accepted to extend, which we do every year. And then I reached out to Stacy. She and I had been going back and forth on me getting her the right information. And I finally asked her, I said, don't you have access to QuickBooks? And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, I do. So she was able to go in there and get what she needed, which was the whole idea for her to be able to access that. And so she says the return is in their review process, and so they're close to issuing a draft to send in. So that is what I have for the treasurer's report.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Kathy? All right, I will go ahead.
I'm sorry. One more thing. I know the board probably saw it. I did pay for the periodic report.
Oh yeah,
That-
$10.
25.
Oh, it went up.
Oh, yeah, it went up.
Okay.
Inflation, my friend. So, yeah, I did that yesterday, and I think it was Ronnie that responded. Thank you for responding. I didn't want both of us to do it, so it worked out well because I've got the credit card. So, yeah, that was paid yesterday, so that's all taken care of.
Thank you, and for clarity, that's a Secretary of State periodic report we have to file every year to say that we are still in business and
Yes,
operating. So thanks for doing that.
absolutely.
All right, I will entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
I'll
And
second.
that would be who? Oh, Jody. And who seconds?
Brittany.
Thank you, Brittany. Is there anyone opposed to accepting the treasurer's report?
Oh.
Sorry. Further discussion,
I have
Kathy?
one more thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have one more thing. We got I haven't deposited it yet. That's why it wasn't showing. We got the $200 deposit that we paid for like our outings a few years ago to, I don't even remember what company it is, but it's for Ball Arena where we would buy the tickets. Well, a couple of years ago, they called me. I wasn't even the treasurer, and they said, hey, what do you want to do with this $200? And I said, we'll send it back. So I finally got it. So I have to deposit that. Sorry. That's the last,
Okay.
I promise, that's the last thing.
Well, that's different.
It's sitting on my desk at home, and I just got to get it to the bank today to deposit it. So it's $200, and now we no longer have that money sitting with that company. It's when we bought the tickets,
Mhm.
you know, for the Avalanche or
Yeah.
the Nuggets, or I can't
Forever
remember.
ago.
Forever ago, yeah.
Okay.
All right, and I'm done.
Are you sure?
I promise. I'm done.
Is there anyone opposed to accepting the treasurer report? Okay,
Oh,
motion
wait,
carries.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna hurt you. Apparently I have spiders to show you, so you
No,
should
thanks.
just keep yourself in line, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, so moving on to old business. Jody, I wanted to say thank you very much for running the elections process for us this year. And would you please formally announce to the group what the election result was, even though we did it in introduction?
Yeah, so thank you to everybody that ran. It was awesome to see all the interest and participation in the election and to fill those spots. So kudos to everybody that was willing to step up and commit to being on the executive board. We had the most votes we've had in several years, but it was still very low. I think it was about 12% of our membership. So just keep watching for those emails every year, guys, that are for the voting, and if some of you might have, it ended up in your spam or it might have got blocked. But I am pleased to announce that Sarah France with Aurora will be serving the East Region Director position. And I am sorry, I have no idea how long that term is. That was a new term, right? So it'll be till 27-ish? Anybody?
I'm
Daryl?
getting nods in
2 years.
Yes.
And then Scott Hartman with Priority Dispatch will join us as our commercial advisory member. So super excited to have him on board. Yep, so 2027. And then I'm not sure how it works for him to finish out, if Scott is finishing out Jennifer's spot or if that restarts. But we're excited to have both of them. So thank you both, and thanks to everybody who voted and to everybody who ran. And definitely, if you're interested, we'll have another election next year, so keep it in mind.
Awesome, thank you. And Sarah's typing in chat. Happy to be here, thank you. We are happy to have both of you, and I've been reminded that we need your pictures for the website. So if you could get a headshot picture to Daryl ASAP, we are happy to put you onto our website on the executive board. What?
I need it too.
Oh, Kathy needs it too. Oh, for the newsletter, yeah. Okay. So welcome, and we're happy to have you on board. And Scott, nothing like jumping right in because the conference planning committee is well underway. I think that Sarah's got an update for us later. So thank you guys so much for running, and thank you for joining the board. All right, Jody and Sarah, who is going to give us the awards committee / holiday party progress update?
Sarah, do you want to take that one, or do you want me to?
Sure, I can go over some of the stuff, and then if I miss something, just back me up there. So we got together last week and met as our committee and have kind of decided to probably scale down to just one party, one awards party for the year. Since the metro area one was most attended last year, we figured we'll keep it kind of in the metro area, but had a proposition to move it down to the Springs, to the main event that's right there by the Great Wolf Lodge. But that would be a great spot. It would also help us get word out about the conference, kind of a 2-for-1 there. So we're going to have the awards party here, and then we can, send out messaging about, the conference for next year, since it'll be right next door. Had a proposal to do it on November 21st, so earlier than we did it this last year. It's get it in November, and it just we can make. I know Jody got some quotes from the main event as far as rough pricing based on what the attendance we had at this last year's metro party looked like, roughly $4,700 after fees and taxes and things like that. So we'll probably be looking into some sponsorships again to try and help offset that cost, as long as the board approves, or if that is something that you guys y'all decide to move forward on, if that sounds like a good idea. So Jody, have I missed anything?
No, I think.
Actually.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We do have Kansas in the pocket for going over the nominations. I know I reached out to them, but Jody also made a good suggestion of possibly reaching out to some other chapters, because Kansas does have their conference in October. So it kind of gets a little tight for them to go over all the nominations also while planning and hosting their conference. So she was going to reach out to maybe some other chapters and see about that. And then since we were only going to do one metro area party for the awards, it was suggested to possibly look at doing a spring outing on the western slope, so that everyone out there on the western slope still has something, but do it maybe once the weather gets a little nicer, and we can plan something out there for those members. Okay, Jody, back me up. What else did I miss?
So, yeah, so the main event that sorry, let me see, get in here to what I have here. The main event quote that I received is 3 hours of activities, 1 hour time card, a bowling pin trophy. So that's exciting, guys. A banquet meal, unlimited soft drinks, and a semi-private space for 1 hour is, I think, around $4,200 to $4,700, depending on how we adjust the menu, which really, if we combine it down to one party and then we are able to get a sponsorship, I feel like that is probably doable. They did reach out and ask if we need to confirm the date, because they're filling up fast. So, and that package was for about 70 people, because I, give or take based on the metro party and kind of the western slope party. I did reach out to, well, I guess for that, Jennifer, Sarah and I would probably like to confirm that as soon as possible with the board that that's what we're gonna do, so I can let the main event know that we are committed to that. With that, oh, sorry, Ronnie, you had a question. I can see your hand.
No, you can keep going. I'll go when you're done. I just learned how to raise my hand.
Oh, that's fantastic. I did reach out to a couple of different chapters. The only chapter I heard back from was Montana. And they are interested, but the person that I talked to needed to round with the rest of the people. So I'm going to continue to follow up on that this week. It'd be really fun if Montana would be willing to do it. And then, of course, they were like, hey, since we're doing it, so it might be a good chance for us to interact with another board. We tried to do the dates in December with holiday parties and people being gone, especially some of the main board members on education pieces and travel. It just felt like maybe we should push it back before the holidays and just kind of get everybody in the swing, and that way we're not crossing over with other people's spouses' parties or their own parties, or just travel in between the holidays. So we thought maybe this was a good opportunity to just push it back as an awards party and kind of get everybody ready for the holidays. So if there's any heartburn on that, let us know. Just note that December is pretty awkward for a whole bunch of people. So, okay, Ronnie, I'm done. Hit it.
All right. Sorry, that little hand's usually on the bottom and they made it disappear for me. Anyway, I just wanted to express some concern on only having one party. For us being a smaller agency, I can't have very many staff members be able to go. We already kind of run thin when we go to the conference being right at 5 hours away and taking staff. So I just have a concern of only having one party on the eastern slope. I really liked and enjoyed, and we always tried to send a couple of our people to the western slope so that they're involved as well. They're members too, so being able to be involved, and we again can't always send somebody to the conference itself, being so far away and being so long. So I just have a really concern about only having the one party, as well as, like I said, it was refreshing to be able to have my guys go somewhere and not have to stay the night. Going to Colorado Springs, we're going to have to stay the night. So the more expenses and more time away.
So Ronnie, does it pique your interest at all that we did discuss having a kind of a spring fling membership party on the western slope? Or do you feel like there's more value in the holiday parties? The reason we kind of went with that is last year the attendance at the western slope party was very low compared to the cost. So we were just trying to look at maximizing the cost. But does that change anything for you, or do you feel like there's more value from your agencies if they go to more of the holiday party?
I don't know about value as much as the holiday party, but value as in an award ceremony. Because of us being that smaller agency, not able to go to a bunch of things and having that cost restriction, being able to be involved in the awards ceremony would be probably more valuable to my people, just because then they would feel involved. I get having the spring and the and a winter party, holiday, whatever it's called. But I just feel like there's probably more involvement on our side if it were the holiday and during those awards.
Okay, thank you. Great feedback. I will round with Sarah, Kathy, and the awards committee and discuss that a little bit further then.
And even maybe instead of I know that you're trying to push for the conference at Colorado Springs, as in like having something there so they can see the venue and the layout or whatnot, but even a holiday party more centralized, to where then we could travel 3 hours versus 5 hours or 2 hours. Like Grand Junction for us is, an hour and a half, but even going the other way, just a little bit longer travel, but yet more middle-ish, if there is a place like such a thing.
Okay, yeah, that's good feedback. I know you're at like 5 hours from Pueblo, so that's I think once we get into the smaller areas, it's harder to find a decent venue. It's the only reason that we try to stay with the bigger areas. But I love that feedback and I super appreciate it. So we will regroup and chat about that for sure. Sarah, did you have anything else?
No, definitely taking notes and agree. Appreciate the feedback, Ronnie, for sure, because this is the stuff we need to hear from chapter members and stuff like that to try and help make us a good decision that's best for everyone or as best as we can do for the group.
All right. The only feedback I have is the 21st is like the one day in November that I can't really be there. So sorry. But I definitely have availability on every other Friday in November. If it has to be the 21st, then obviously the chapter needs to come first. But the other thing is I hear that we need to get this kind of finalized, not only to get dates on, but also so we can run the awards process very well. And so if we need to have a special meeting of the board and properly notice it before our next meeting in September in order to make a decision on this, I'm happy to call that special meeting. So as the awards committee works on this process, just let me know the need and I'm happy to schedule another meeting, even if it's just Zoom, which it probably would be.
Okay, Sarah, when did you send out a calendar invite for the awards committee's new meeting? When did we decide? We have one.
Yeah, our next awards committee meeting is going to be on September 3rd. So next Wednesday, we're all going to meet next Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Okay, I don't see a calendar invite.
No, I still gotta send it. I just made the Zoom meeting link this morning, so
No, you're good. I just was
I
afraid
will
of
send that out.
So yeah, I guess Jennifer, let us regroup next week and chat about it some more, and kind of go for, I mean, we kind of shied away from that first week of December because I know you're out that week too, and there was some other people that were out. So it's kind of complicated, but let's see what we next week.
I think December 5th maybe is an option, and also November 14th if you're looking to do Fridays.
Yeah, I did feel like there was a lot of other members that were out for the 5th, because we talked about that. And I think Sarah and Gina were both out. And in terms of the committee,
I'm out for the 5th.
as terms of the planning committee and needing to be there to kind of help run things. So we'll regroup and get back to you.
Well, we could also do the 20th. So, do we want to, if you guys are going to meet next Wednesday, do we want to just go ahead and set a special meeting date to make a decision on the holiday parties after your meeting next Wednesday?
We could either do that, or I can send it out via the email boat. We can write it up and send it out. So let's see where we get next week before we set a meeting, just in case we need more time, because it seems like this might make us pivot a little bit, which could mean more research. So.
Okay, and I would just say to those members who are in the room and in the Zoom that are not on the board, if you have feedback and thoughts that you want to get to the committee prior to the board making a decision, if you could just email Jody and or Sarah. And does anybody else have any other thoughts or feedback now? Okay, thank you guys for all your hard work. I know it's not easy, and I'm looking forward to the awards process. Our awards have been very well contested in the past few years, which is fantastic. The more nominations we get, the better. And so for those of you who are in the meeting, please spread the word and be thinking about who you want to nominate for our many award categories. Because the next thing that they do once they nail down dates for the parties is send out award nominations. So And thanks for working on finding additional chapters to do that with and not burdening Kansas in the middle of their conference. That would suck. Yeah. All right, anything else on awards and holiday party? Okay, moving on to committee chairs. So, we have had a lot of interest in our committees as well in response to the call for action. We have an opening for chairing the education committee. We have an opening for chairing the outreach committee. Ashley was able to get back to me. She is going to step down from chairing the outreach committee. She just had her 4th child, so congratulations to Ashley. I don't know where she sleeps between working a job and having 4 kids, but more power to her. And I want to thank her for her service. So with that, we have Riley LeGride interested in chairing the education committee. And we have several people, several members interested in serving on the education committee. And I have this list, so I'm going to provide it to the board in writing, so people don't have to, like, you know, worry about writing it down or anything. And I'll have it there for you in the minutes, Ronnie. Peer support. I think we've got 3 people who are interested in serving on peer support, and we nominated a chair last meeting. We've got 1 person who's interested in serving on the finance committee, Jody, and we have another person who's interested in serving on the TURC committee. So this is all excellent, and I think we've got interest in serving on the conference committee as well, which is, I think, in new business. Where is our new business? Oh, it's not. Okay. So I just wanted to entertain a motion to appoint Riley LeGride as Education Committee Chair. Or if there's further discussion or anybody who's on the meeting who is interested in serving as chair, I'd like to hear from you too as well before we make an appointment. So I will throw that open for discussion.
Riley would be excellent.
Okay.
I don't know Riley, so I'm gonna go by what you say.
He did our social media posts and things for the
Oh,
conference this year.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, RYLEE. There you go. Throw it in chat. Is anybody in the call interested in sharing? Ashley is on the call, so I just want to reiterate again, thank you for your service as Outreach Committee Chair, Ashley. We really appreciated all the work that you did for the chapter over the years.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah. All right, I will entertain a motion to nominate Riley LeGride as Education Committee Chair.
Kathy moves.
Thank you, Kathy.
Nate, I'll second.
Hi, Nate. Any opposed to nominating Riley as Education Committee Chair? All right, congratulations, Riley. I don't see her on the call, but I know she'll do a great job. And for those of you who are looking for a committee chair opportunity, we do have one open in the Outreach Committee. So I'll be putting that out as an option after this meeting. But I welcome everybody who is interested in serving on a committee. It's a great way to get involved, and it's a great way to dip your toe into chapter work. So, yeah.
Without it taking too much time.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because
we all have a lot.
Because we are all busy. All right. With that, I also wanted to remind everybody that we do have a chapter calendar that we put together, and it's by monthly responsibilities. And of course, I should have had it pulled up, and I didn't. While I am pulling that up, let's see. Sarah and or Sarah, are you at the point where you could give us a conference committee update? You just had a meeting, right?
Yeah, can I do that just a little bit later? I've got a BC at my desk, so.
You can.
Okay,
Tell that BC
thanks.
you're in a meeting. Oh.
Well, I just need a few
Okay.
minutes. I'll let you know when I'm ready.
No
Thanks.
problem. So
Thanks.
I'm gonna come back to monthly chapter calendar to do. And I asked each board member to be ready to talk about what they want to see for the chapter outreach and our membership goals. One of the things that I really want to accomplish this year for the chapter is really getting people interested in the chapter and seeing that it's their chapter and ways that they can be involved. And so I asked all the board members to bring their ideas for chapter outreach and membership goals. And I'm going to pick on the people in the room first. So Gina, go ahead and let us know what your thoughts were. I did prepare them, so this is not like, oh crap, she's throwing me under the bus.
I would really like to see, and it's 100% on me for not having this happen, but I would really like to see more in-person outreach with some of the smaller and further away membership organizations and agencies throughout the state. And that's kind of where my mind was going with the idea of doing like a spring or summer get together, is that could be far less expensive than a holiday party, and something that we could potentially do multiple of and move them around in order to be more accessible to some of the membership that can't travel 5 hours to get to parties and meetings and things like that. So I would really love to see that happen. And then also, again, partially on me, is I think that we are underutilizing our chapter app for continual outreach to our membership beyond just the conference. So.
Great goals. I think we can easily achieve those.
I think so.
Yeah. Kathy?
I had the same mindset as Gina, but I also thought it would be a good idea for the board members, and nobody's going to make it to everyone, but even if we were to find, one of the smaller agencies and just do a visit. And I mean, it could be board members from wherever that part of the state is, or if you're willing to drive. I think it's a good idea to just get out there and say hi and say, hey, we're with the chapter and this is what we do for everybody in 911. And again, with the app. So that was my same thought.
Great.
And we weren't texting or anything.
Well, we do have materials from the chapter outreach that we did several years ago that we could update, so we don't have to start from scratch with that. Yeah. And a lot of that could be put out on the app as well. Okay. So then I will go to Nate, because he's the name that I see first on the list. Oh, Scott, Scott, I'll get to you after Nate. Go ahead, Nate.
So my thoughts kind of along the same line, using the app a lot more for outreach versus email, because we get so many emails that they get lost a lot. A lot of my people say, I never saw that. And the other thing, and this is on me, is being in person more than virtual, because virtual is nice and convenient, but in person gives you a lot more, and that's on me. So that's something I'd like to see more of.
Great. Scott, you have your hand up. I wasn't going to put you on the spot because you're new, but you go ahead.
No, I just had, excuse me, I just had a question. What percentage of PSAPs are currently members in Colorado? Do we have that information?
I don't know if anybody's run the numbers for percentage of PSAPs, but we have 1,200 members in the Colorado chapter.
That's a good amount. Okay. I was just curious to how many were not. So.
However, the membership list that we get from both NENA and APCO does list the agencies. So any one of us can take that membership list and look and see which agencies are missing and then concentrate our efforts in person on that. Yeah. There's also, I think, value, though, to go into our member agencies and saying, hey, thanks for being a member, and how can we support you sending your people to more chapter activities or participating in committees. So, yeah, good question, Scott.
Thanks.
Yep. Jody, you're next on my list that I can see, so you're up.
Yay. I think for me, it's continuing something that we just recently started, and that is getting more interest and engagement from people to serve on the board and to serve on the committees. As we, older people age out of the committees and the chapter, and I don't mean that by we're old. I mean some of us have been around for years, and we need to step back and let somebody new take it. And I think I talked about this in the manager director round form of getting those directors and those managers and their people that they have underneath them that they can offer that up to involved in the chapter is only going to make us stronger as those of us who've served for a long time kind of move out and bring in new blood. But we can't do that unless we have a lot of interest. And so thank you to all of you who offered up your staff members or encourage them to be involved in the chapter, because it really does make a difference.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm not calling
Thank
anybody
you.
old. I'm just saying there's a bunch of people that have been around a long time.
Oh,
Yes,
come on,
there's
Jody.
a lot of laughing in the room here.
Man, as soon as you were done saying that, you had to help me up out of my chair, so.
I mean, I don't think anybody would have pegged you as the oldest, but you just added yourself, so. However,
I know.
she's the one running 10 minutes on the treadmill every day, so
Yeah.
anybody else doing that, raise your hand, right? All right, but I do agree with Jody. I think we need to generate lasting participation so that the next generation of board members is being grown. And Sarah's got some comments there in the chat that I will call out. Yeah, I think you're right, Sarah. Perfect. Yeah, if we can capture Sarah's comment, Ronnie, in the notes that you're taking on this topic, I think that would be super helpful. I think one of the, well, I'm saving my goals for the end. Brittany, you're up.
So kind of on the same thing as everyone else and really hitting on the same stuff Sarah's talking about in her comment over there. I do think, you do have representation on the board by smaller agencies at this point. Me and Ronnie being two of the smaller agencies in the state. But that can be very, very intimidating when a lot of representation comes for those bigger agencies. And that's just the nature of it. It's kind of unavoidable. But I do think we could improve the information that's out there for people. We kind of talked about it in our regional meeting, but I think a big thing that keeps people from participating, either running for positions on the board or in committees, is it's kind of hard to find good information outside of the bylaws of what each position does, what's expected of them, what can they do. And I think we can improve kind of what we put out to people so that every member knows, what's open to them.
Great idea. Thank you, Brittany.
Can I tag on to the end of that?
Yeah.
I really like where Brittany's going with that, and I think maybe making it a little bit more human, like asking each board member to record a 30 to 60 second video of them talking about what they do and the role they have, and then we could put that somewhere on the website, or link it in the bylaws, and that way when people are reading about it and it seems very legal and technical, and they can click to something and, oh, hey, okay, here's 60 seconds from Brittany about what it is to be a Western Region Director.
Yeah, like that. Daryl's got his hand up, Technology Committee Chair.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that we could do a web page as well. I also thought maybe this goes beyond just the officers, and maybe put committee chairs as well, if that wasn't already part of the conversation. What each
Yeah, I think
committee
that's a
does.
great idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right, thank you, Brittany and Gina and Daryl. Ronnie, you're up.
I think just to echo Brittany, like she had stated when you came up and we all had met, even speaking with Kim State Patrol, they don't use a whole lot of APCO Nina, but it's almost like they don't know what the benefits are out there or what it even does. And I'm a huge problem at our agency because I say to the new people, sign up, but then I never explain anything of why you're signing up. Or I never explain of what happens with APCO or Nina. So I think being able to educate the centers about what exactly we as a APCO Nina organization does, as well as the board does, a little bit of both. Because to me, if you don't understand the one, then it's harder to understand the board. And I agree 100% with Sarah as well, is the fact of, well, you know, they all get it. We don't. Matter of fact, you see a lot of the awards, even when you try to fill out an award, like, you know, some of the awards are more based on bigger agencies versus a smaller agency like us. Like, say, for instance, and I'm just using this as an example. I'm not like saying it needs revamped, but like the team part of an agency. Well, we don't have teams. Rangeley, Meeker, we don't have teams. It's one person. So I guess if you consider that a team. Anyway, I think that it seems like there's always a lot of focus on the bigger agencies and not as much focus on the smaller agencies, and making that in-person education piece of what APCO and Nina is as well, or like the website, or just something to more educate people of what it is.
Perfect.
If I can
Thank
kind
you.
of build on Ronnie's real quick too. I do think it also might go well as far as educating really everyone that there are different types of centers. A lot of times we focus on the traditional setup of, you know, shift work teams, you know, multiple people in a comm center. But a lot of times, you know, those of you in the larger centers don't always, I guess, understand how we function as a solo dispatch. And I think making sure that the entire, I guess, chapter understands the variety of jobs that are out there could go a long way in helping people just further their careers in general.
Awesome. That's a great idea. Thank you. Sarah Shover, I think you're up.
All right, just to make sure I know what I'm talking about, are you guys still talking about how we can help the chapter build more membership base versus, like, I'm not doing my conference talk just yet, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Please provide your ideas for chapter outreach and membership goals.
Listening to what everyone says, I agree with a lot of that. Probably more either website or app engagement. Seems like the younger folks just love being on their phones, and they are so much more into that type of social media connection versus just emails through the inbox, and we all get a ton. I'm curious if, listening to the comments about getting more information out about what the board members' roles are, or even just committee chairs, or what committee roles are, is that something that maybe we have a session or two at conference that's specific to welcome to the chapter, or come and meet your chapter, where we can go in depth a little bit? I mean, it's hard because the sessions are kind of short. Can you get that condensed into, you know, a 45-minute session? But just helping explain those things, would that be something that has traction that we could start doing to provide more information out to members? Of course, then they would have to be at the conference in order to attend the session, but just something that I was thinking about as you guys were all talking. I'm not tech savvy in any way, so I am not someone that would be good at helping with any kind of website or application stuff, but I think those are all excellent ideas. Just getting the word out more to try and get better engagement, to explain what benefits the chapter truly does have. Because I feel like even I am still learning how much the chapter does and how far it reaches and what a benefit it is. Like, I'm still learning those things myself.
Perfect. Well, that dovetails into what I am hoping to do with the chapter this year, which is to answer those questions. And I think that the the board that we have now is going to be building a lot of those answers as we go along this year. We've got a whole bunch of new committee chairs that are empowered to take their committee in whatever direction they want to. We have a board that's fired up and engaged and committed, and some of the answers to those questions you guys are going to create. What does the chapter do? Well, let's figure out what the chapter is going to do and how to carry it forward. And the other thing I really want to work on this year is kind of addressing what some of you have called out, which is this is not the board's chapter. I mean, obviously we're the stewards, but this is the members' chapter. And I want every member that we have to feel comfortable coming to the meetings and speaking up. I want every member to feel comfortable being involved in the committees or not as they choose, because I don't want to force anybody, but if they feel so moved, then I want to make sure that they know that their contributions are welcomed and appreciated. And I want every member that we have to feel like this is my NENA APCO chapter. So I think we're well on the way with all of these goals. And you know that I'm going to come back with the next meeting and be like, okay, how are we going to achieve these goals and who's responsible for which piece? And let's get some videos scheduled and how can we do this and that. And so I appreciate everybody putting some thought into what their goals are. Please come prepared to the next meeting to talk about putting in some action items to the goals. It doesn't have to, just because it was your idea, doesn't mean you have to be responsible for it, by the way. We're not going to run things that way. But if somebody said something and you're like, ooh, I really want to be helping with that, then be prepared to speak up. I told Kathy I was going to ask her about her newsletter idea, which also comes into the engagement and the outreach. So have you thought any more about your newsletter idea, or?
I have. I actually started working on it. Yeah. And the first one, what I felt would be the best would be an introduction. So like, here's your board members. That's why I asked for the pictures. So I've got a little bit put together. It's not ready to be shown to anybody, but I've got a little bit put together, and I'll add people's pictures. And then the other thing that I was thinking about putting in there, and anybody is open, I'm open for input. So anybody who has any ideas, please tell me. But I was just going to do upcoming events. That was, you know, another part. I'm trying to make it quick and easy, and it's not something that, oh, it's a quarterly newsletter and it's 20 pages long and I'm never going to get through this before, you know, my shift is over. So just something real quick and get out there, because that was some of the feedback that we got in the manager directors forum too, right after Jody called us old. And then, yeah. And so that was one of the things that was said, was that they would really like that on a quarterly basis, so that, you know, you're not, it's emails. I mean, we all know, it's like my favorite button anymore is delete. But we get so many emails, but if we could just do a quarterly newsletter to send it out, hey, here's what's coming up the next quarter, you know, in case you missed it, this is what happened, you know, and an introduction, and always have the board members up there and our contact information. So that's where I am right now.
I think that's great, and I think one thing the chapter should consider at a future meeting is the format of those newsletters, because the other piece of feedback we got was if you have to click an attachment, a lot of people will just hit the delete button instead. And so should we be looking at MailChimp or Constant Contact or some sort of outreach software that provides all that information in the email and not an attachment?
So embedded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking at that as well.
Yep.
So thanks for working on that.
Yep.
And with that, I will throw it out to the membership. You've heard what the board's goals are. What would our membership like to see from the chapter? You guys in the room can participate too.
Yeah. You don't just have to sit there and eat donuts.
Who has ideas for what they want to see from the chapter, Zoom or room? All right, well, we still want to hear from you. So if you mull it over, reach out to any board member and give us your feedback so we can incorporate that for the next meeting. Okay, going back one step, we have a Colorado NENA APCO monthly needs checklist that I started building last year to make sure that as we go throughout the month that we're doing what we need to do. There's nothing on it for July and August, but June's was conference committee should begin meeting, and there's a whole separate conference guidance document as well as bylaws for that. And there's a lot to do in May because the chapter has a lot of paperwork to do to turn over chapter officers, communication with NENA and APCO on the new board, et cetera, et cetera. So rather than take up more time in this meeting, I'm going to send this link out to the board so that we can be refreshed on where it is. And it's also an open list, so as we go through this year, I'd like to add to it so that the next incoming board has a good, strong resource that they can look at and be like, okay, what are we supposed to be doing in June? What are we supposed to be doing in July? So that's just kind of a quick reminder. Okay. We are rapidly running out of time in this meeting. I'm going to probably go over. If you have to drop off, then I recognize that's totally fine. The TERT call out process on the agenda, I just wanted to, one, thank Linnell, Beth Dobransky, and Connie Johnson for coordinating that TERT call out. And what I realized in that whole process is I don't know what our TERT process is. I don't know who's supposed to be involved at the state. I don't know when people at the state need to get involved, and so on and so forth. So I've asked Linnell to sit down with us and explain the call-out process, make sure that if for some reason Linnell wasn't around, that somebody else could pick it up and run with it if we needed to. So that's what that agenda item is. We also, at some point, need to ask for volunteers for a NENA 911 Goes to Washington state captain. So probably at the next meeting, I will ask for anybody who's interested to serve as the state captain, please let us know. The state captain is responsible for coordinating all of the attendees from the state that are going to 911 Goes to Washington in February, because DC in February just sounds lovely, but that's when they do it. But coordinating everybody who goes and coordinating the Hill visits, because the main goal of 911 Goes to Washington is meeting with your representatives and conveying 911 talking points to them and educating them about 911. So if that sounds like something that you'd like to serve as, be ready to speak up in the September meeting. And Daryl, who has served as the state captain in the past before he was working for the state, since we're both working for the state, we can't serve as state captain because we're not allowed to meet with the representatives. But Daryl is very happy to help mentor the state captain. So thank you, Daryl, for that. All right, with that, we'll go down the list for committee chair reports. So Jody, as Finance Committee, do you have an update for us?
I do not have anything for the Finance Committee other than Kathy and I have just kind of been working on getting everything transferred over to her, making sure she's getting all the emails and that I'm sharing any of the information that she needs. And then at some point, her and I will need to chat about the Venmo and a couple of the other items that are just kind of hanging out, but not urgent. So otherwise, I think we're good.
Awesome. And we do have a volunteer for the Finance Committee, so I will get that name to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And we already did Awards Committee, so thank you both for serving on that. The Membership Committee chair is vacant, but I am going to call out the fact that that chair or that committee is supposed to be chaired by one of the Western and Eastern region directors. So now that we have a full slate, what?
This is Brittany. I actually wanted to see if maybe I could volunteer to go ahead and chair that one.
Sure. Is anybody opposed? Or would anybody like to co-chair with Brittany?
Having a co-chair would be very helpful.
I'm happy to help you, Brittany. This is Gina.
Awesome.
All right, so our two Western Region directors will chair the membership committee. Thank you both. Sarah, we are now ready for your update as conference committee.
Okay, perfect. Also, thanks again for letting me push it off just a bit because, like I said, I just had a battalion chief had come up to my desk and was asking me some questions. So, all right, conference, we are locked in for Great Wolf Lodge, as we all know. Setup date is going to be Sunday, May 3rd. Pre-con is Monday, the 4th, and then conference sessions, the 5th and the 6th. I'm currently working on a save the date flyer over in Canva to try and get some messaging out. And then we had our meeting on Friday as the committee and started looking into getting some pre-con ideas and some keynote speaker ideas. So Kathy has graciously agreed to reach out to both Joe Cerro and Denise Amberly, see about getting some costs for either pre-con or keynote. We're also looking into Chris Inman with the Healthy Dispatcher. Gina was going to touch base with him because they're going to see him here in a couple months. He's going to be up there. All great speakers that we've all come highly recommended. Things that we haven't seen at our conference in the last few years. So that's why we thought we'd reach out to those. We're kind of settling in on a theme, possibly doing maybe a casino night for the entertainment on Tuesday night for the big night of first night of conference. And then instead of doing an activity or something on the pre-con night on Monday, we thought maybe doing just like a happy hour meet and greet since we're going to be at the Great Wolf Lodge. It's got so many activities there that are available to the guests anyway. Just allowing our attendees to sort of enjoy the venue and just do a quick little happy hour meet and greet, and then they can just have that downtime that pre-con night. So that was something that we talked about. And with a casino night, we thought maybe we could do a Vegas theme. And I think Alex is the one that had come up with maybe the theme being like dispatch high stakes, which was a fun one. So we're still working on those. Obviously, we'll now with Scott being our new commercial advisory member. Awesome. Nice to meet you, Scott. I'll start touching base with him and getting out sponsorship levels and start working with him on trying to reach out to the vendors and start working on the sponsorships. So we still have a few things to talk about at our next meeting, which is scheduled for Friday, the 26th of September at 2:30 p.m. So if anyone would like to join the committee, you're welcome to. Just let me know and I'll be happy to add you to the invite and get you on for the Zoom link. So again, next meeting for the conference committee is going to be Friday the 26th at 2:30. And we'll just keep chugging along.
All right, thanks for all of the hard work already. I want to go back to the Holiday Awards Committee and remind you that we do have a sponsor for the awards party already, for the holiday party. We voted to accept GovWorks' sponsorship offer at the last meeting, so we have some money there. I think it was $5,000.
Oh, wow.
So there's that. But for the conference committee, my inbox is flooded with all these people who want to be our keynote. So I'm going to forward them to you, Sarah, but I just want to make it clear that none of them are an endorsement from me. It's just, here, these people are interested in being keynote, so here's all the information and the committee can make a decision. I also want to raise the topic of what the chapter provides for its volunteers, conference volunteers. We got a lot of feedback last year that a lot of the volunteers really spend a lot of time and significant effort both planning the conference and then running the conference, but they had to pay for the conference, and is that really fair? So in the interest of time, I think I'm going to raise that challenge now, and I'm going to ask the board to be thinking about that. And so one of the main topics of conversation at the September meeting, I'd like to be this board having a thoughtful conversation about what is a fair recompense or appreciation for our conference committee volunteers, and what would that look like? For example, if we say, yes, if you volunteer for the conference, you get a free conference, is there a certain number of hours that they have to volunteer either ahead of time or at the conference in order to get that, and so on and so forth? Because I do think that there is some validity to the fact that if you're volunteering ahead of time and then you volunteer to make the conference run, why are you also required to pay? It's a fair question. I also think that if we can make this decision in September, we might get some more conference volunteers to help us plan and execute throughout the year. So I will throw that open for a brief discussion to see what other people's thoughts are.
Doesn't National APCO give you?
No, if
No.
you volunteer for 4 hours, you get 1 day at the conference, but they have a multi-day conference too. So, and Nina, I don't remember what Nina does.
I don't know.
I do think there needs to be some kind of a requirement that you volunteer X number of hours or something like that, because I would hate to see a bunch of people join the planning committee and then they're on the list, but they never come to a meeting or things like that, and then they end up getting a free conference, having not actually put any work into it. So I do think that there needs to be some requirement. You attend X number of planning meetings, or have so many hours of volunteer work, or you block out 4 hours on a day that you're going to volunteer at the conference, or something.
I don't know if it needs to be 4 hours, because we really only have a couple of days, so maybe a couple hours. But I agree. I don't think it's fair for people to put in all that work and then have to pay to come to the conference that they
Or have their agencies pay.
or have their agencies pay. Yeah. So I just think we need to come up with something, you know, like Gina said, it's fair and equitable. But then we have to have a tracking as well. Like she said, we don't want somebody to, or anybody to just take advantage.
Scott, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe an idea would be everybody pays up front, and then when the accounting of hours is done, they get some sort of rebate. I know that creates a little bit of work, but that makes for accountability.
We'd have to look at how we do the registrations and whether or not that would cost the chapter
Yeah.
unexpected charges because of refunds. But yeah, that's an option.
Treasurer, kind of a nightmare.
It's the IRS.
Yeah. But no, that's a good way to look at it, though. But I think we can figure something out.
Sure. And who else in Zoom world has thoughts? All right.
I think,
well, be thinking
sorry.
about that. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just thinking, really, there's between Sunday setup day, pre-con day, and then 2 conference days, I think that you could get a 4 hours in, you know, like if you make it where you get a paid for conference, like the full, maybe, and we would have to decide whether or not they get pre-con or not, but like paid for conference, if they could get 4 hours worth of volunteer time in within those 4 days, I think that would be fair. Because I mean, like coming to the meetings and participating in the meetings is good, but I think it's actual days at the conference, sitting at the table, passing out the badges, checking off registrations, and all that kind of stuff that seems to be the arduous. Like, and I had to pay to be here to sit here at this table. So I think maybe looking at it that way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. Although I will say that the planning committee last year, they did an awful lot of work ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be respectful of that too.
So maybe those could be 2 separate things, like maybe you earn a free pre-con attendance for doing the planning part, and you can earn a free full conference by actually volunteering at the conference.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that.
All right, well, now that we've put our thinking caps on and generated some thought, bring those ideas to the next meeting. Perfect. I do want to make sure that everybody is aware. Unfortunately, we tried to deconflict our dates with PSCS's Radio Summit. They did send out an email and say that their dates will be May 5th through the 8th. So we will have to work to deconflict for 2027. Okay, Outreach Committee, we will need a new chair. Thank you again, Ashley. Technology Committee, any updates?
So I did get some recent information. I attended a NASNA, which is the National Association of State 911 Administrators, presentation about supplemental coverage from space that was very interesting. I think probably a lot of you are already aware that T-Mobile has partnered with Starlink to provide emergency text messaging only from rural areas, and other providers are starting to look at the same thing. But what I didn't know was that they are also sending out wireless emergency alerts that way. So if you are a T-Mobile customer, or you have any phone that can access that same spectrum, which other phones are starting to put that in, it's called band 25. And you are in an area that has no cell phone coverage, you can still get wireless emergency alerts for that area from satellites. That was something that was new to me, and I thought I would pass it along. Hopefully we'll get more information about how that works, and more providers will start providing that service.
That's awesome. Thank you, Daryl. Okay, Education Committee will no longer be vacant after this meeting, so thanks to Riley. And we do have some volunteers for the Education Committee, so thank you to those who have already put in to volunteer. Bylaws Committee, any action, Jody?
No, because I also just remembered that I'm supposed to be running that. So no updates yet. Stay tuned.
Well, the good news is that we just approved new bylaws, and so I think it'll be a quiet year on the Bylaws Committee.
Yeah, we did a bunch of work last year on some bylaws. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of, unless we need to add some or make some adjustments. So yay.
Yay. Nate had to leave, but he said no updates for historian. I do have an update, and I will get with Nate. But John and Mary Kyler went through a whole bunch of their stuff, and they have some more Neenah APCO history for us, including, I believe, the very first issue of the microphone, which was the original newsletter for our state chapter. So, Mary and John Kyler are the primary contributors to our timeline and our history for the chapter, and so I appreciate them. I also know that through at the state conference, we were talking to a couple of people who've been around for a long time that have some history that Nate was going to get with, so I'll get with him on that. We do have a new peer support chair in Trina Doomer, and Trina is on the call. So Trina, what's your update for us?
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to say, first of all, thanks so much for nominating me for this position. I'm really excited to share some of the materials I've been collecting over the past couple years. Yesterday, I did send a folder over to Daryl, and he's going to upload those files to the website. And I should give a shout out to Shannon Polito, who graciously gave me permission to share these materials. Some of these materials can also be downloaded off of her website, which is Help for the Headset. So I'm going to keep adding materials and sending them over to Daryl. And I'd like to connect with you, Jennifer, when I get back from my vacation on September 15th, just to see how I can better serve in this role and kind of what the expectation is. I also reached out to the two other interested candidates for the role to see if they wanted to start a committee. I didn't hear back from them, but I'll also throw my email in the chat, and if anybody has anybody who would be interested in being on the committee, I'd love to have some help and some support and brainstorm some ideas. So that's pretty much my update. So thanks again.
Well, thank you, Trina. And you have 3 people who responded to my email who are interested in being on your committee. So I will get with you and send you those names and emails.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I don't see Linnell on the call. Linnell, are you here on the phone somewhere? All right. Well, I will get with her on the call out process. And we do not have anybody for Professional Development Committee chair yet. Do we have anybody on the call who's interested in serving as chair for Professional Development Committee? All right, well, we'll continue that outreach. All righty. I'm going to skip the PUC update unless you guys have specific questions for me. And then for national news, I intend to extend an email invitation to our Western Region Director for National NINA. Her name is Stephanie Johnson. And I'm going to invite her to these meetings, but I didn't get to it before I left on vacation, so she's not here, obviously. And then for APCO, Jackie could not be on the meeting. She sent an email update that says, no big updates on the executive committee side. We have a pre-board meeting that we're in the process of getting scheduled. So for those who aren't aware, executive committee or executive council is the direct link between the chapters and National APCO. And before every APCO executive board member or meeting, they have a pre-board meeting so that the chapters can bring information to that board meeting. And then after the executive board meets, then they have a post meeting to get information back to the chapters. So that's what they're working on scheduling. She said Baltimore was great and it felt very safe while we were there. So I'm glad that our executive council rep came back safely from Baltimore. I was worried. Mm-hmm. Okay, does anybody have anything else for good of the order before we adjourn?
I do.
Jody.
Just on that last comment, Baltimore was fairly safe. Yes, I did not feel super uncomfortable, but I was only there for 3 days. The newly sworn in West Region Director for APCO that I am actually talking to about the Montana chapter is Zach Slattery. And I think he would be a great addition if we want to bring him in. He's super excited, and yeah, he was sworn in at the conference as one of the new West Region directors. So happy to put you in touch with him if we need to.
That is great. And you just reminded me that yesterday I got an email from Bree Robinson at NINA, and NINA has a new CEO. His name is John Provenzano. I think I probably mispronounced that. Anyway, he's doing outreach to state chapters and would like to meet with the board. So if the board is interested in meeting with, as they're already calling him at NINA, JP, because they have now John Provenzano, and then they have John Kelly, who's their legal counsel, and they have John Ferraro, who's the EAB co-chair. So they're trying to differentiate by John's, and he's going by JP. If the board is interested in meeting with JP, then I would be happy to coordinate a time where we can all get together. Is that something that you guys are interested in? Sure. I hear yes in the room. What say the Zoom?
Is it personal or virtual?
Virtual.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I think it's good to get FaceTime.
I don't think they have the budget to travel to all 50 states. Go ahead, Jody.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it's good to get FaceTime. It helps them get to know you and then gives you a little bit more of a voice when you need them.
Okay, I will set that up. Anybody else have anything good of the order, board or membership? All right, well, at the last meeting, I said I was going to start a tradition of going around the board and we could all say one good thing that's happening in our lives, but since we are already 20 minutes over, I'm going to suspend that and make time for it next time. So thank you, everybody, for all the hard work. I am super excited about the direction the chapter is going, and I appreciate your attendance here, either in person or on the Zoom. Our next meeting is late September, I think. Is that right, Ronnie? Ronnie's in charge of the meeting schedule here.
Yep, September 23rd.
Thank you. September 23rd, and that will be a virtual meeting, and we will pick a location for the in-person October 28th, apparently costume meeting at that meeting. Have a great day, everybody.